Hi loves, I hope all is well. I'm going to be talking about March energy and what it means, how to work with it and all that kind of good stuff. March is such a deeply transformative month, and the more we allow ourselves to work with this energy and really ebb and flow with it, be transparent with it, the easier it's going to be. And the more you are creating room for beautiful new beginnings and a whole new era, basically. So February was kind of like a bridge to March, where a lot of themes started in February that are in relation to the energy in March. So I have a lot of notes here because there's a lot happening. So I will make sure that I'm not missing anything that's, important. So some of the major things from February that are, well, and January actually, because we had the North and South Node with Pisces and Virgo begin in January on the 11th, I believe. So that energy is still predominant right now, obviously. So some of the themes from February were the full moon in Leo, and that carried the energy of self-expression, creativity, authenticity, and truly healing wounds related to our confidence and gaining deeper emotional clarity from our past experiences and understanding our power and what we can bring to the table for ourselves, for our own healing, and releasing any attachments or fear of judgment or self-criticism and stuff like that, so that we are allowing ourselves to be our authentic selves. The new moon Aquarius, which is something we just experienced on the 26th of February, so we're still in that shadow period, was also a theme that was about collective consciousness, breaking free from limitations, planting seeds to manifest new paths of awareness, new paths of happiness, joy, and abundance, and new paths that are aligned with our authenticity and the authentic life that we have come here to, experience and to live. It was also about releasing outdated patterns, outdated societal or personal expectations where you might have been seeking validation from outside of yourself. It added the power of Aquarius energy, which invites, as always, radical shifts, and really activating our higher consciousness and focusing on setting those future intentions. Like, how do you see your life 6 months from now? What does it look like to you? And holding that frequency of the joy of that is so important right now. We also had Uranus, Jupiter, and Mars retrograde simultaneously, and the combined impact of these planets going direct in such close proximity to each other were a deeply profound energy. So each retrograde has a shadow period, 2 weeks before, so pre and post shadow. So 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. They call it retro shade. It really invites us to assess, and so the pre-shadow is about what's coming up, what's surfacing, how are you feeling, what are you being asked to look at, what are you being asked to heal, what are you being asked to clear, and all that kind of stuff. And the post shadow period is for the integration of what you learned during the retrograde. So where were you guided to do deeper healing? Where was your attention, pulled to, and what was that retrograde trying to show you? So that the post shadow is that point of integration, that point of, I'm using this information to heal and to become more of my authentic self. Let's see. So also, it was a big energy of reflection and allowing ourselves to see more deeply into our desires, our needs, our wants, our aspirations in life, and giving us that time to reflect and grow during this period. So that deep introspection was such a big part of our elevation, I guess you would say. Let's see. So the overall theme for March is anchored in radical change, quick change, integration of new beginnings, trusting in the unknown, healing through and with our spiritual practices, and knowing that there are a multitude and a plethora of ways that we can integrate our healing, rather than in rigid structures where there's only one way to do this, there's only two ways to do that. We have to understand that there are infinite ways for us to work with this energy, infinite ways to work with ourselves and do our healing. So personally, I use a lot of different modalities during my healing, and I've used shamanic healing, and I've gone through a shamanic upgrade, I guess you would say, where now I have certain gifts that have come online that I can use for others' healings. There's the Buddhist theories. There's so many modalities to healing, and you have to go with what resonates with you, what feels good to you. And it could be something different for every wound, let's say, that needs healing. So don't limit yourself in your healing. Understand that there are so many modalities to healing, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a shamanic retreat, whether it's meditation, whatever. Like, incorporate as much as you can without overwhelming yourself with things that feel good to you, that with things that resonate with you. And sometimes it's a one step at a time process. Sometimes it's a multitude of things all at once, but do what works for you and don't limit yourself. March is also about really letting go of that self-criticism, that judgment of others, and embracing a more compassionate self, like towards self and towards others, so that we're not being judgmental, and we really remove that spiritual hierarchy of anybody being better than anybody else. So you have to give yourself permission to be in that place of self-awareness, mindfulness, living mindfully, and take responsibility for yourself. Like, where do you show up for yourself? Where do you not show up for yourself? Where are you confining yourself? Like, when we call ourselves out, so to speak. So say you had an argument with somebody and you say, oh, well, if you didn't do this, I wouldn't feel like this. Or if you didn't do that, I wouldn't have said this. Like, it's about taking responsibility for yourself. So regardless of what that other person said, it's about the filter that you have. So every single one of us have a filter. And this filter comes from our life experience. So you can all be looking at the exact same thing, but have a different perspective because of that filter. And that filter allows the information to flow through your life experiences. So I'm going to interpret certain things a certain way because of my life experiences, and that person will do the same. And so it's not about right and wrong. So say one person is raised to say the grass was purple, one person was raised to say the grass is green. Who's right? Who's wrong? Right? So it's so important to hold that higher perspective, not come from a place of judgment, and understand that everybody's doing the best they can according to who they are in every moment. But as individuals, we have the choice of how we invite energy into our life experience. So if you don't feel good in that, so say it's a friendship and this friendship doesn't feel aligned anymore, and it's just like, I don't feel good when I'm around that person anymore, I feel stressed or I feel exhausted or whatever, then maybe you need to take a step back from that connection, from that relationship, for your own well-being, and not from a place of judgment or, oh, I'm better than that person, or I've grown and you haven't, or like, it's just simply saying, this doesn't feel good to me and I'm going to step away. No hostility, no anger, no none of that, because when we let go with love and when we let go with that place within us of that higher perspective, we are truly freeing ourselves, because we're not holding ourselves emotionally hostage in any way, shape, or form. We're saying, it's okay for me to let go of this through love, through self-awareness, and through self-love. Like, I'm taking care of my energy, I'm taking care of my body, mind, and heart. This no longer feels good. Like, if you go to a buffet, are you gonna eat the garbage, like the garbage stuff that you don't like? No, you're gonna eat the things that you do like. So you have to think about the relationships in our life in that same aspect, which this one doesn't feel good any longer. I don't feel aligned here. This one feels awesome. And like, you know what I mean? So please make sure that you're taking that time to do that reassessment with all of this energy happening. Which brings us to March 1st and Venus retrograde. So Venus retrogrades every 18 months, and it's about 40 days or so. So about 6 weeks, let's say, and add 2 weeks onto that. So the next 2 months will be in this Venus retrograde energy. And Venus is all about, like, the retrograde is all about love and our relationship with love, our relationship with people, places, and things. So we're being asked to reassess all of these relationships and how we utilize them, how we engage with them, how we have them as a part of our lives, because Venus rules love, relationships, values, beauty. And Aries, because it's retrograde in Aries, is a very independent and fiery energy. So Aries is a fire sign. So it's about passion and creativity and all these amazing things. But it's also the Phoenix energy, where we're allowing ourselves to go through this spiritual death and rebirth, where we're burning away all of the things that don't serve us, and we're allowing that shedding, so to speak, of things that are no longer aligned with who we are in this moment. So think about a relationship that you've had, for a friendship you've had for 20 years. And you hold on to that relationship because of, oh, well, I've known them for 20 years. But it's important to understand that where the relationship started is a different place than where the relationship is right now. So who you are right now and who they are right now is not who you or they were when you first started this relationship. So it's about understanding and allowing yourself to trust your intuition and fully giving yourself permission to step away from things that are no longer aligned. And rather than holding on out of guilt or out of a misguided obligation or out of a sense of, well, you owe them something, like an injustice in you if you stepped away from them because, well, they haven't done anything like horrible or anything, it's just I don't vibe with them. And that's okay to step away from those things that you no longer vibe with, because you have to give yourself permission to trust your intuition and to be transparent and fluid when it comes to these kinds of changes that are happening, especially with this Venus retrograde. So some of the themes with the retrograde are a reevaluation of all the relationships in our lives. That's with finances, that's with our personal values, that's with ourselves, that's with friends, family, people, places, things. It's not easy for us to take that time to reassess and review, those kinds of things, because that's where you have to step up and take responsibility for yourself to say, okay, so say it's with finances. What is your relationship with finances? Do you have a healthy relationship with money? Or do you feel like money is something that you need to sacrifice for and, blood, sweat, and tears to have money? Or do you just understand that money is a frequency? And when you truly feel wealthy in every aspect of your life, money can flow to you effortlessly because you are the frequency of that infinite wealth, rather than that frequency of outdated aspects of, say, ancestral issues where, our ancestors had to struggle, and that's all come forward to us, where we're not allowing ourselves to allow the ease and the fluidity of engaging with the energy of infinite wealth, where I am an infinitely wealthy frequency, because that allows you to be an infinitely wealthy frequency, rather than, oh, can't afford this, can't afford that, I'm this, I'm that. Like, you're limiting yourself through how you feel about that relationship with money. So taking time to reevaluate those relationships, very important. Unresolved emotions from the past may resurface. You have to allow yourself to feel. You have to allow yourself to feel your way through all of this energy. You have to allow yourself to feel in order to deal with it, in order to heal it, in order to release it. You can't keep yourself emotionally stagnant or keep yourself emotionally hostage in places that you've outgrown, or in places where you're fantasizing about what was. You have to allow yourself to be what is, where this energy is right now. Who are you right now? And where are you holding yourself emotionally hostage? Where are you holding yourself in a place of stagnancy, so that you're not giving yourself permission to move forward? That's a really important aspect of this Venus retrograde as well. Noticing imbalances in self-worth and in love. Like, where do you feel in balance when it comes to your self-worth and the love in your life? Do you feel safe and secure in receiving love? Do you feel safe and secure in giving love? Do you feel safe and secure in just being you in whatever relationships that you have in your life, with your friends, with your family, with like, we all wear different hats at different times, obviously. How I am with friends is not how I'm going to be with my adult children or my grandchildren. How I am with my parents is not how I am with my adult kids and grandkids. Like, we all wear different hats, but I'm always authentically me. And that's where this energy is really helping us to be in that alignment of no matter where I am, I'm authentic. I'm still me. It's just, I take the time to assess the situation and read the room. And having that confidence in yourself to say, I'm worthy of receiving love. I'm worthy of giving love. I'm worthy of being my authentic self because I trust in exactly who I am. And being very transparent in all of the things that are transpiring with this energy and with all of these things that are being asked to be cleared and released and shifted. Also, so learning to balance independence with connection. So you can still be this independent person and this individual person in any relationship, whether it's a friendship, like, or a partnership or a work relationship, whatever, because learning from each other is really important. And when you try to force yourself to, like, I've worked with clients that, well, I try to like what they like so they'll like me more, rather than just being authentic and saying, yeah, that's not my vibe, but go ahead and do it. Go, like, I love bowling. Bowling's fun to me. But say you had a partner that didn't like bowling and you're like, come on, let's go bowling. And they're like, yeah, I've tried it a few times. Not my thing. Don't like it. So are you going to emotionally manipulate that friend or that partner into bowling with you because it's what you want? Or are you gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna call a couple of friends and we'll just go. You know what I mean? So don't try to be what you're not, or don't try to make the square peg fit in the round hole kind of thing when it comes to these relationships. And know that it's good to have freedom in a relationship. It's good to be who you are and still have hobbies and things that bring you joy. And if that person, whether it's a friend or a partner, whatever, isn't on that same wavelength, and they just don't enjoy that, and say they've never tried something before, they never went bowling, you're like, come on, let's just try it. If you don't like it, cool. That's a different vibe than trying to manipulate someone into doing something that they already know that they've experienced and don't like, because that's not fair to put that pressure on somebody that you love to force them into that. So just make sure that you are being your authentic self and you're allowing them to be their authentic self, and not trying to manipulate emotionally, because emotional manipulation is one of the most toxic things that you can do in any one of your relationships. Let's see. So during this retrograde, shadow work is very important, ego work and inner child work, because they're all in relationship to love. So our ego cannot create or form new memories. Our ego has an attachment to the life we've already experienced. So everything you've experienced thus far in your life is being filtered through your ego. So when you are triggered, or when you don't allow yourself to see something with fresh eyes, so to speak, or see something through who you are right now, in the sense of holding yourself hostage, saying, oh, well, I went through something like that before and I don't want to go through that again. So, it's about releasing attachments and allowing yourself to be free from the past and free from those emotional wounds, so you allow yourself to fully heal, and not holding that sense of, the deep-seated fear or the insecurities or the attachments. Because when we can truly live our life in a healthy, non-attached way, life is easy peasy. You're allowing yourself to be fluid. You're allowing yourself to flow. You're allowing yourself to be transparent, and not assessing every situation through that filter of the unhealed ego or those wounded aspects. So make sure that you're taking that time to reevaluate and assess who you are, and ask yourself, like, Why do you do what you do for others? Do you do it from a sense of obligation? Do you do it from a sense of outside validation? Do you do it for a sense of self-worth? Like, oh, I'm so worthy because I do all of this for other people, rather than I'm worthy because I'm worthy. You know, that's where attachments come in, and understanding your intentions with everything in your life. Like, why do I do this? Or why do I show up for that? Or why do I, like, ask yourself, where does this come from within me? So that you are understanding that the authenticity that you are, and the wholeness that you are, you do things because it comes from love, from within you, without attachment. Like, it's like gift giving. Like, you give a gift because you enjoy gift giving, rather than I'm giving this in order for you to, so I can hold it over somebody, or I can say, oh, remember I gave you this, or like, for that validation from that person, or because you want that emotional, woohoo pat on the back. So it's so important to understand, what are your intentions in life? What are your intentions when it comes to your frequency of giving and your frequency of receiving? Because I've worked with a lot of clients that if they are given a gift, they feel like they have to give something in return because of their insecurities, because of their own, wounded inner child and whatnot. So take that time to evaluate and understand, where does this come from within you? And understand that your value has no attachment to how much you do for others. Your value comes from within you. You're valuable because you're here, and you're valuable because you're you. You are the only you in this entire world. Even if you're a twin, you are still the only you, because only you have experienced the exact life that you have experienced. And this is where that filter comes through, where every experience is dictating how you feel about it, or what you think about it, and stuff like that. So it's so important during this retrograde to assess and reassess our relationships. So finding balance in healthy relationships, or asking yourself, is this a healthy relationship? And allowing yourself to let go of the relationships that are out of alignment, or codependent, or toxic, or imbalanced, or not serving you for your highest and greatest good. So reassessing those relationships and see which ones, like, does this relationship bring out the best in me? Does this relationship bring out the peace in me? Or does it bring out the war in me? Does it bring out the fight in me? Does it, like, where is the balance and where is the imbalance? And really asking yourself, like, so if you have a partner or a best friend, and say you're struggling with something and you're pissed off about something, do they add fuel to the fire and get you more hyped up and more angry and more, like, hostile? Or do they encourage the peace in you to say, hey, remember, take a breath. Like, let me help you work through this. Or is there something I can do to help you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you're not, so those people closest to you are not bringing out the fight in you. They're reminding you of the peace in you. And they are helping to bring out the best of you, so that you can always be, the best version of yourself. And those are healthy relationships that help to bring you balance and help to bring you into that place of, oh yeah, I forgot myself for a moment. And giving yourself, they hold space for you to, vent and to let it go, but they also help remind you of that solid foundation that you have within yourself of harmony and peace, and being your authentic and most aligned and best version of you. So always asking yourself, do these relationships support the peace in my life? I know that Venus really, this retrograde can feel very heavy and very challenging and all of these kinds of things, but just know that it's for our highest and our greatest good, and it's really helping us to allow those alignments with healthy relationships, with balanced relationships, and asking yourself where you're holding on to certain things. Is it the me now that's engaging in this, or is it a past version of myself that's still holding on because of, fear of change or insecurity or anything like that? So ask, do you feel safe and secure in who you are? Do you feel confident in the life that you have and the life that you're building for yourself with the people in your life, with the people closest to you in your life. All right, now, March 3rd, we have Mercury enters Aries. Aries is a big theme this month, guys. So again, Aries is with this month, it has to do with a lot of Phoenix energy and obviously fire. So with Mercury entering Aries, we have the themes of mental clarity and bold expression. So this enhances our direct communication, our confidence, our self-assuredness, and our speaking authentically. And when we speak authentically, it's always through that place of love within us. It's always through that place of balance within us. It's not hostile, it's not judgy, it's just you're speaking authentically, and it always comes from that healthy boundary that is within you. This transit will also challenge old thought patterns, and it encourages us to rewrite our inner dialogue and mindsets, I guess you would say, where you're aligning and rewriting this inner dialogue from who you are right now, so that you are allowing yourself to be authentic and you are allowing yourself to show up for yourself and be the best version of yourself. Mercury is a very powerful planet, and especially when it's in Aries, because Aries is all about fire. So avoid being impulsive when it comes to reactions, because remember, a response is something where we pause and respond with mindfulness or respond with consciousness, when a reaction is something where you're triggered and you're just being reactive. You're not allowing yourself to process, you're not allowing yourself to pause, you're just jumping right in. So be very mindful and pause and reflect on your emotions before you communicate with somebody when you feel triggered, or if you're in a bad mood, or if you're feeling sensitive or anything like that. Just make sure you're taking that time to pause and reflect before you respond rather than react. It's also asking us to, to work with conscious listening, so that you are hearing, the people closest to you. So when somebody wants to talk to you, you are paying attention to what they're saying. You're not wandering, your thoughts aren't wandering. You're not listening in order to respond. You're just listening to be that support and to listen. And hopefully be the lighthouse for that person to help them to see things from a higher perspective. And non-judgmental awareness is a very big theme. So observe the process before responding. This is also connected to the eclipse, because the themes with the eclipse that are arising right now with the Mercury retrograde and everything like that, it intensifies all of this energy. Okay, now on March the 12th, the sun and Saturn conjunction. So dreams meet discipline. Reality tests our intuition. So it's about moving away from the logical mind and moving into that place of fantastical and infinite wisdom and infinite possibilities. Really pushing us towards that spiritual maturity, where it's like, I trust in what I can't see. I trust in my sense of knowing. I trust in my intuition. And I don't need outside validation to know what I know. And that's a big thing with this, because it's shining light on the most important things of who we are and the authenticity of what we are. The illusions are being dissolved. So this energy reveals true strength or weakness of foundations. And whatever foundations are not solid and healthy and grounded in love will be dismantled. That's not always a good thing for people, because I know, moving away from relationships is never easy, whether it's a friendship, a work, a partnership, whatever. But it's so important for you to be real with yourself and ask yourself, is this for me? Is this does this serve me? Because whatever we hold on to that is not meant for us through this retrograde, remember, this is an 18-month cycle, and you will repeat cycles, and they will get stronger and stronger and stronger until you make a choice from a healed aspect of yourself, because you will keep being shown repeatedly that this isn't for you. And the more you try and fight against it, and try to fit that round peg in the square hole, the harder it's going to be and the more out of alignment you're going to feel. This is also a karmic reality check. So March is about karmic closure, ending karmic contracts, and really allowing ourselves to learn what we've come here to learn. So when it comes to relationships, you know, sometimes it is a karmic contract. Sometimes it is something that has a karmic theme to it. So we have to understand that, okay, this relationship came forward to teach me A, B, and C. And hold that lesson, hold that knowledge, hold that wisdom, and release everything else. Letting go of what is misaligned, huge theme with this. Releasing outdated structures, outdated beliefs, outdated aspects of self, everything we've outgrown, and truly allowing ourselves to be in alignment with who we are in this moment, and in alignment with this higher frequency of energy. Self-mastery and resilience. So challenges have built a sense of who we are, and it's given us this deep inner wisdom, and we really have to tap and tune into that, so that that's what we're following. That's what we are allowing, you know, to be our inner guidance system. So it's our inner GPS. And really taking time to confront fears and taking responsibility to step into your own power. Like taking that responsibility to say, hold on, I am in control of me, my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts, my actions, what am I giving my attention to, all of this. I'm in control of me, and stepping into that power confidently and consciously, and becoming and working with that conscious creation energy, because that is what is planting all of these seeds for, you know, what's coming. It's also helping us to gain clarity and to push us to take accountability. Because true growth comes from facing our shit head on and allowing ourselves to see what we need to see and learn what we need to learn, so that we can grow, evolve, heal, and, you know, step into our full power. All right, so March 14th, we have the total lunar eclipse in Virgo and the full moon in Virgo. This is a really big energy. We're already feeling this energy because eclipse season has already started in the pre-shadow period. And eclipses are so deeply transformational. And because we have 2 eclipses this month, it's a lot of things are happening. The full moon coincides with the total lunar eclipse, and it's also called a blood moon. So the Virgo influence, like people always say, you know, Virgos are very particular and stuff like that, but it's associated with organization. So organizing your thoughts, organizing your feelings, giving attention to detail of where you need that inner work done, and what feels aligned to you and what doesn't, and focusing on, you know, healthy routines, body, mind, and heart. Taking time to really refine the aspects of your life. Like, how are you looking after your body? How are you looking after your mind? How are you looking after your heart? Meaning, what are you giving your attention to? So when we talk about looking after our heart, it's about where are we extending ourselves? And what am I giving my attention to that instills emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, frustration, whatever. So if you're, I don't know, say you're watching the news, and don't watch the news, it's garbage. But say you're watching the news and something on the news incites a fear. How is that beneficial to you? So this is what they're asking for us to really refine and take responsibility for ourselves, as in what we're giving our attention to, our own emotions, and all these kinds of things. If it does not feel good to you, that means it's not meant for you. And again, we go back to the buffet thing. You're not going to go to the buffet and eat the garbage that you don't like. You're going to go to the buffet and eat things you do like. So think of life in that same aspect where, oh, this tasted really gross. Hold on, let me have another bite. No. Rather than, this tasted really gross. I'm going to put that back and I'm going to go over here. Oh, that tastes really good. So take that time to, you know, assess and refine those aspects within yourself that allow you to engage in things that don't feel good, and ask yourself why. Like, why do I do this to myself? Why am I allowing this? the eclipses are also about endings. So endings and new beginnings. So the lunar eclipse, it impacts and really propels us to accept endings that are creating space for new beginnings. And that's not just relationships, but that's, endings in letting go of outdated thoughts, outdated feelings and emotions and things that don't serve us. So it's really pushing us to let go and allow things to end that need to end, whether it's physical, emotional, whatever. But give yourself permission to let go of, this isn't serving me, this no longer feels good to me, I'm going to move forward. And really, the first eclipse on the 14th is such a pivotal one that will highlight, because it's also a full moon, it will highlight the things that we need to let go of. And it signifies a culmination of endings. So it's going to bring hidden aspects to life. It's going to really push and prompt us to see the things, the necessary things that need change, and the things that need closure, so that we give ourselves that permission to say, okay, this no longer serves me, I'm going to close this chapter. So with the 14th, there's just a lot of energy of endings. So maybe it's a job that you've outgrown and no longer, you don't feel good about it anymore. It doesn't, like, I don't like going to work, and like you have that mindset. So it's going to push you to allow yourself to, look for something new and do something that you love, and have that energy of, I love what I do what I love, and it brings me infinite wealth, because that's where we are headed. Also with this moon, it symbolizes the awakening and renewal of you, of the authentic you, that place of alignment and personal growth, self-reflection, shedding of old habits, old outdated things, and really creating space, energetic space, for these new beginnings to happen. The alignment with the eclipse amplifies all of this transformative energy, and it's offering us such a massive opportunity for introspection, spiritual development, and allowing ourselves to be authentic, allowing ourselves to be who we've come here to be. And it is the final moon before the spring equinox. So, because obviously the spring equinox is the astrological new year, which is amazing. And it's bridging the introspective energies of winter and the active outward energies of spring. So this is a very pivotal time to let things go. Let things be put to rest that no longer serve you. Then, with the Virgo Pisces axis, which began January the 11th, that's a huge focus on purification, on healing, on releasing. Again, the theme. So letting go of outdated cycles, shedding old habits, beliefs, and attachments, finding balance between structure and surrender. So, we're always talking about surrender in the spiritual community, and surrender is simply either surrendering to something or surrendering something. So Virgo brings discipline, and Pisces calls in this divine flow of trust. So trusting your intuition, because healed Pisces is one of the most intuitive aspects in astrology, period. So allowing yourself to trust that intuition, allowing yourself to be in that place of, this no longer feels aligned to me, is really important. And then using Virgo's energy and that discipline to say, I choose me over my attachment to this, and I choose my own healing over my attachment to this, and so on and so forth, so that you're being disciplined in the fact that I'm giving myself permission to heal, and I'm surrendering to my full healing. So the South Node in Virgo, it clears past life patterns and overanalyzing. So we don't have to overanalyze everything, because some things, our humanness, our logical mind, like some things will never make sense to our logical mind, and that's a good thing. because we are in this place of so much more. We are in the magic. So not allowing yourself to overanalyze to the point where now you're getting emotionally stagnant or stuck, or you're holding yourself in this like spiritual paralysis is really a big theme with that. We also have a sense of clearing past life patterns. So this is where that karmic energy also adds to this theme, where we are clearing out the karmic energy of stagnant things. So whether it's ancestral traumas or traumas and ancestral attachments, or like I said earlier about money, like ancestral attachments with money that had a very lack mindset and stuff like that, because they had to struggle and sacrifice and everything for money, where now we're asking to step into the ease and the flow of infinite wealth. And remember that each of us have this pocket universe, so to speak, and knowing that you are infinitely wealthy in your pocket universe does not take away from anybody else's wealth, because we live in an infinite universe. So having that mindset of being infinitely wealthy and not limiting yourself is so important. So you're not having the attachment to, I'm asking for too much, I'm being greedy. No, you're not. Whatever your heart desires means that is already in existence on a timeline somewhere. You just need to be the frequency of that. Okay, then we have March 15th, Mercury retrograde. And we're already feeling that. We are already in the shadow of that as well. And Mercury retrograde in Aries and Pisces. So it will transition from Aries to Pisces. The themes with this are deep mental recalibration and awakening. So coming into that alignment with your authentic self, coming into that alignment with who you are and the power that you are, and really fully standing in your light and being the lighthouse. With Aries and Pisces, because that's also a significant aspect with this energetic shift. Neptune rules Pisces and moves into Aries for the next 19 years. So Aries is warrior energy and Pisces is spiritual surrender. So again, that finding that balance in what do you identify with? What do you identify with in your life that doesn't serve you? So unfortunately, people, when we go through traumatic experiences, we identify with that trauma. That becomes part of who we are. And we're being asked to step away from that. We're being asked to clear that, because the more we allow that karmic clearing, the more we allow that full healing, the more space we create for all the amazing unfoldings. So, take some time to really do that assessment of yourself during Mercury retrograde. Well, starting now, do it now. Because again, we're in the pre-retrograde phase for Mercury, and focus on things like, how do you assert yourself in your life? How do you communicate with yourself? How do you communicate with others? And what is your communication style? How do you show up for yourself, and how do you support yourself? Do you adhere to your healthy boundaries? Do you try to emotionally manipulate people? Like, call yourself out so that you can be the best version of yourself, and that you can heal those aspects that need to be healed, and you can allow yourself to be the best version of you. Let's see. Then we have the spring equinox, March the 20th. So that is the astrological new year. And that's when I celebrate New Year's personally. And we are also planning a workshop for the spring equinox for celebration and creation. So keep an eye out for that. With the spring equinox, it's a powerful portal for balance, for harmony, for renewal, for new beginnings to begin. And it's all about that rebirth energy. So the sun also enters Aries on that same day, and it's again the fire energy, the transformative energy, the phoenix energy. And with Venus and Mercury in retrograde during this period, really deepens the aspects of what those retrogrades mean. So it's so important to find your balance and do that inner work necessary. Like, look after yourself, look after body, mind, and heart. Ask yourself, what is it you are creating for yourself from this point on? How do you see your life? And one of the things I get my clients to do is write a letter to themselves 6 months from now. So 6 months, so 6 months from now, you're writing a letter, and where are you 6 months from now? I'm so happy that I've done this and I've done that and I've accomplished this and I've healed here and all of these kinds of things. And do it from a place of infinite abundance where you have everything you want. And when you're feeling challenged or, you know, in the shits, so to speak, reread that letter and feel the joy of it. And remember, when we are working with manifesting, which we will be doing a video about as well, just specifically about manifesting, but it's all about feeling. Like, you can say the words as much as you want, but until you feel the feeling and feel the joy of, then that manifestation is kind of a pipe dream. So allow yourself to feel your way into it. Allow yourself to be the frequency of whatever it is that the version of yourself 6 months from now is experiencing, that you feel that joy, because that is what brings it into fruition. The sun enters Aries, and it's, you know, like I said, beginning of the new year, and with Venus Mercury retrograde, the equinox is carrying this tone of deep reflection before taking action, so that you are allowing yourself to make conscious decisions, and you're being the conscious creator rather than just, you know, going on willy-nilly. So it's finding your equilibrium between action, which is Aries, and reflection, excuse me, with the retrograde, because both of those retrogrades will be in the post-retrograde energy at that point. So action and reflection, and setting new intentions, and gaining inner clarity. Like, who am I right now? That's what matters. Who am I right now? Because healing has a lot to do with, you know, forgiveness and allowance and giving yourself permission to move forward. Because what happened to you a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, didn't happen to the version of you right now. So create from this version of you and allow yourself to fully heal. Give yourself permission to say yes to your full healing, and say yes to, you know, that commitment to yourself where I choose to live the best life possible. I choose to live a life of joy and happiness and all that kind of stuff. Like, you're the only one who can do that for you. So use this energy to purge and to release and to let go of outdated relationships, beliefs, patterns, and all of that, so that you're allowing this fresh new energy and the energy of new beginnings to actually begin. Then we have March 27th. So we have the Venus retrograde in Aries now will be in Pisces. So the overall theme, because Pisces is a water sign, is being fluid and surrendering. Like, this is the time to fully and completely surrender your past, fully and completely surrender everything that is not serving you, everything that you've outgrown, everything that's not aligned with who you are in this moment. And it's like shifting from being like self-critical and holding on to blame and judgment and all of that, to this place of unconditional divine love, and to this place of conscious healing and emotional release. So you are creating that space, you are purging, and you are shedding all of those things that don't serve you, to allow that emotional release to happen, to allow all the good stuff to come in. So you're confronting the illusions and karmic attachments and the spiritual lessons that surround love and self-worth and communication and all of these things, so that you are giving yourself permission to live your best life, and you're giving yourself permission to move and groove and shift with all of this energy that is in play. The overall energy for this is very much based in that releasing and that letting go, and that place of, this is no longer valid to me. I no longer identify with this. I give myself permission to let this go. And what deceptions do you have around money? So, and material desires and stuff like that. So you're letting all of those attachments go, and you're freeing yourself from all of the limiting beliefs. You're freeing yourself from all the limitations that emotionally and spiritually, energetically, and mentally putting, like, you're the one who's putting all these restrictions on yourself because of the past. So they're really asking us to, you know, step through that portal of freedom, where you're saying, okay, like how a snake sheds its skin, the same thing. Like, you're shedding that, all of those aspects of you that are not bountiful and abundant and anchored in love and the new earth energy, the higher frequency, and the joy of being. Okay, and then we have, on the 29th of March, we have Mercury retrograde conjunct Neptune in Pisces, and the new moon solar eclipse in Aries. Aries, Aries, Aries. So these themes are very much about strengthening your intuition, aligning with that intuition, and trusting in who you are, trusting in the gifts that you have, trusting in all that you have come here to be, and dissolving logic. Like, again, not allowing yourself to be stuck in this place of, this needs to make logical sense to me in order for it to be, because that will hold you stagnant. That will keep you in a place of like holding yourself hostage. So they want you to really allow yourself to step forward and allow yourself to live your best life. So give yourself permission to be fantastical. Give yourself permission to be abundant and joyful and infinitely wealthy in every aspect of your life through this kind of deep healing. Meditate, use breathing exercises, be very self-aware, live mindfully, and use all of these tools in order to help you to, you know, create that space and to heal through this energy. Help yourself to dissolve any kind of mental blocks, and breaking free of rigid mindsets, breaking free of the things that have you feeling limited in any way, shape, or form. Then on the 29th, we have the partial, on the 29th with the partial solar eclipse. So they're saying it's fated realignments and new karmic soul-driven action. So all of these things that we've been healing and working through and releasing are now allowing our destiny to accelerate and really live our best lives. And this opens all these beautiful new paths for these new beginnings, but it has to come through that, you know, conscious clearing and that self-awareness and that mindfulness, and giving ourselves permission to be who we've come here to be and to live our best lives. What else do we have? Then on the 30th, Neptune enters Aries. So this is the first time Neptune has been in Aries since 2011. So it's shifting from a passive, dreamy kind of energy to a spiritually driven energy where you're like, this is mine. So they're saying like this is literally the new era of divinely guided movement, where you are this conscious creator, you are standing in your power, you know your power, and you know that you have this infinite wealth within you that you're now bringing into fruition. So it's the end of escapism, where you're no longer using avoidance or distractions or compartmentalizing or distracting yourself with the illusions of, you know, dense energy and ick energy and things that don't serve you. And knowing that you being present is what takes priority. You being present in every moment and being fluid, being transparent, being mindful and self-aware is what is creating all of this space for these things to unfold, for all of the new beginnings to unfold, for it's like a spiritual purification of that is outdated and old, like false teachings, manipulative gurus, misinformation, restrictive belief systems, and all of that kind of stuff will be exposed so that you can say, ha, that's not for me. And you're truly aligning with what is for you, and you're truly trusting your gifts, trusting your intuition, and standing in that personal power where you're saying, yes, I am the power of my own universe. I am the power of my own life. And it's like this evolution and revolution of your authenticity, where you are, oh, hold on one sec. My phone was dying. And I love that they did it at that moment, because they're like, hold on, pause, let that sink in. So it's like this conscious shift towards your truth, your authenticity, the rawness of, the power that you have, so that you have that energy to create. You have that co-creative power. You have that sense of self-awareness, self-worth, and knowing that I deserve this. I am worthy of the most joyous, abundant, beautiful, happy, healthy life, so that you are giving yourself permission to be there. You're giving yourself permission to enjoy and to create and be happy. We're here to be happy, and they're really asking you, just choose happiness over everything else. Choose you. Choose that sense of self-awareness. Choose that sense of growth and energetic shifts and new beginnings and fruition and all these amazing things. And that way we are giving ourselves that time to be, and to be in that place of receiving and surrendering to the energetic fluidity of receiving and the ease of receiving. So, all right, my loves. So that is our month for March. So again, allow what needs to go. Allow it, and allow that space of creation, that space of that Phoenix energy to be that guidance for you to release and review, and then towards the end of the month be in that receiving energy, because you've created space. You've created space for all these beautiful new beginnings in love, in joy, in harmony, in finances, and all of these amazing things. And be the frequency of infinite wealth in every aspect of your life. Allow it to be. And I know it's been very heavy, because the Schumann resonance has been doing crazy things for our betterment, of course. Personally, I've had a lot of things like sleep issues. Yeah, not sleeping because I'm integrating a lot of energy, the headaches and all that kind of stuff. So listen to your body and, rest, rejuvenate, take time to review and revise and reassess everything in your life that is in alliance, in accordance to love, so that you are giving yourself permission to be happy, healthy, and feel safe and secure in these new beginnings, and feel safe and secure in all that is for you, because it is here, it is now, and March is make it or break it. So look after your body, mind, and heart. Ask for support if you need it. Be very open-minded as to all of the amazing tools that we have for our own healing, and nourish your body, mind, and heart, so that you can flourish and that you will flourish. And know that the more you feel abundant and joyful and aligned, the more you're allowing that energy to be experienced through your humanness. Okay. All right, my loves, I hope you have a fabulous day, night, afternoon, whenever you're seeing this, and always reach out if you have any questions. And I hope you use this March energy for your betterment, and that you find that place of infinite power, peace, joy, love, infinite wealth in every aspect of your life. Okay, take care.